SpiderMan No Way Home is just a little over a week away, and as we all know, this is not just your average Spider-Man movie. This is the culmination of three different Spider-Man franchises. But before we knew about all of this was happening with the multiverse and No Way Home and, the other Spider-Man and the Sinister Six, before we knew about that, which I think we first found out about that about like September-ish of last year, we all thought it was just going to be another regular Tom Holland Spider-Man movie in the MCU, where it was now following up after the post-credit scene in Far From Home, where now his identity has been outed to the world. We thought it was just going to be another one-villain adventure, and I was really excited for that. And the villain that I thought would be featured in that film was Kraven the Hunter, given just really how much sense it made, and also given the fact that both Tom Holland and John Watts said that they literally won Kraven the Hunter in this next movie. But then, things happened, we found out about this multiverse stuff, and now we're getting No Way Home, which, I'm super excited for, and I'm loving everything that we're getting with that, but at the same time, it's hard not to wonder what if it was just a Kraven the Hunter versus Spider-Man movie, because I really would have liked to have seen that as well. And apparently that was officially the original plan. Because the cast of Spider-Man No Way Home are off doing press and, promoting the movie Spider-Man No Way Home, and in an interview with Collider, both Tom Holland and Zendaya just revealed that the original plan for Spider-Man 3, aka Spider-Man No Way Home, was to have Kraven the Hunter in this movie and do a Kraven storyline, which, again, I think would have made perfect sense following up after the whole identity crisis situation, because it just makes so much sense, because now everybody in the world knows that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, everybody thinks that Spider-Man is a murderer, plus we've got J. Jonah Jameson here now, so it makes sense that he would hire Kraven the Hunter, Sergei Kravinoff, who his whole thing is that he loves the challenge of a hunt, and the whole reason he hunts Spider-Man in the comics is just because he needs a new challenge, so this would literally be the perfect thing to have somebody go hunt down Spider-Man. Kraven the Hunter. It literally makes so much sense. And then you could bring back some other villains, like maybe Matt Gargan, Scorpion from Homecoming. It just made so much sense. It really did make perfect sense. And I remember back before we heard about all this multiverse stuff, we were hearing casting reports about Kraven the Hunter for this movie. I remember they were looking for a Joel Kinnaman type. And obviously the big fan cast was Jason Momoa, but he's Aquaman, so that could never happen. But instead, now we're getting this crazy multiverse Spider-Man No Way Home movie, and we're still getting Kraven, just not in this movie, because he's now getting his own solo movie in the Sony Cinematic Marvel Universe, whatever you want to call it. So it is really interesting to think about, because I would have really, really liked to have seen this Tom Holland Spider-Man versus Kraven the Hunter movie. I feel like that could have worked really, really well. Now, an interesting thing to note, though, is that in this interview when Tom Holland and Zendaya are talking about the original plans with Kraven the Hunter for Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland does mention that he doesn't want to go too in-depth on what the story would have been, because there is still a possibility that they could still do that movie somewhere down the line, which I think would be really, really cool, because, again, we're still getting that Kraven the Hunter movie, but that's most likely going to be an origin film for that character. So, Kraven the Hunter, the movie, will introduce us to the character Sergei Kravinoff. I believe, according to rumors, he's going to be fighting his half-brother, the Chameleon, who, by the way, possibly appeared in Spider-Man Far From Home with Dimitri. So, we're getting that going on there, and that could kind of set up the character to then maybe, as we know, Tom Holland is getting a second Spider-Man trilogy in the MCU, for maybe now one of these college years movies to have Tom Holland Spider-Man go up against and battle Kraven the Hunter, just like how we know most likely, chances are, there's also going to be a movie where Tom Holland Spider-Man fights Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom, and we don't know if that's going to be a Venom movie or Spider-Man movie, but again, that could work really either way, and I think that's a really cool idea, because, again, we know that Sony is doing all these villain solo movies, and none of us really liked the idea of it at first, because why would you give them their own solo movies if we just want to see them fight Spider-Man? Well, this is the way that they can kind of make it work, is they can set up these characters in their own movies and then bring them into a Spider-Man movie already previously established, and then it's just that more compelling of a story, and I think that actually works pretty well. So, hopefully that is what actually ends up happening here. I would really love to see a Tom Holland Spider-Man versus Kraven the Hunter film. I feel like that could be really, really cool. But again, it is interesting to think about if we didn't get No Way Home with all this crazy multiverse stuff. We could have gotten Spider-Man versus Kraven, and again, it would have fit in so well with the storyline that was being set up there. But it's, it's just fun to think, what if? And hopefully at some point in the future we do get a similar storyline. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What do you think about this news that we almost got Kraven the Hunter in Spider-Man 3? And the real question, would you have preferred that? Would you prefer just a regular Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man movie battling Kraven the Hunter instead of this crazy multiverse No Way Home movie? Because honestly, I think I would have preferred that. Like, I'm super excited for No Way Home, but I think I would have liked just that Tom Holland movie. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I keep you up to date on everything that goes on in Marvel life.